Hello learners. In the first two sessions, we have discussed about your first unit 2 points. First one was on a political reading of Elizabethan age or the historical reading, and after that we have seen characteristics. And now we have to move ahead with a major poets of this era. So in that we have to see we will see first writer that known as an Edmund Spenser. The first one means we can say that the Elizabethan age era began with him, so that the proud that the poet that age is connected, and the majority in Elizabethan era's poet are most probably they are inspired from Chaucer's era, and especially with the Chaucer's work. So that the influence we able to find in the Elizabethan poets also. But after that, the dramatic moves ahead, and we find that there is a huge amount of dramatists are born, like Christopher Marlowe and all. But when the Shakespeare born and when Shakespeare started to write in the literature, the track will change it within a flow within a Shakespeare. So it goes as a second era or the emerge within Elizabethan that known as a Shakespeare. So that is the things of some of the brief idea. Here what we will do that we will pick up any of the writer, and we will study few works which are famous from the writer's work. In this way we will study, otherwise that your syllabus is very lengthy, so it cannot be completed just because it's a history, so it's a terrible to complete in a short time. So this is where we will study that first we will see writers, and then we will pick up some of the few works which are famous, and we will make summarize, we find out some important points, and this way we will study. So today in Edmund Spenser we will see the first work which gave a name, fame, or the success, that was on a Shepheardes Calender. So let's see some of the important point or facts about Shepheardes Calender. That is, first one is published in 1579, and see some of the other points. This work is in a model on a Greek writer's Virgil's work. So Eclogues are made by Virgil, and Edmund Spenser tried to copy that form or that format. The second one, the Shepheardes Calender, is written in the form of a pastoral eclogues. So it's on a style to write, it's on a format that Edmund Spenser always preferred to write, that known as a pastoral form. Spenser used lots of archaic word in this work which were inspired by the Chaucer. See, we find that the impact of Chaucer in everywhere. Like using an archaic word, if you see the title, you can understand the Shepheardes spelling, which is written in old Pentamic or the old tradition way that it's written, and if you see the new way to written, the spell is different. So that they want to tell us that old archive or the old method to write in English, so that we can see it by the title is the biggest example of this word. And why this kind of we find that old English is coming too much, just because the influence of Chaucer. Written in 12 eclogues and dedicated to each month of the year. Spenser introduced Colin Clout, which first used by John Skelton. That this character, Shepheard type of character, it's an ancient character. First that is used by John Skelton, and after that Spenser borrowed this character. So this is the history of Colin Clout. There is a commentator in poetry, name is E.K. that man, we will let's see that who is that, not to make a secret. So that was E.K. That man is a commentator in this poem, but who is that man? That is the question comes, that person is an Edward Crick, which is a friend of Spenser from an Oxford University. On that study time, he was there with him, so that's why that Edward Crick. And some of the literary scholars says that they are that friend who was here as a commentator. We see it, and some are agree with this point and some are not agree with this point also. So it's a little bit controversial that who is this E.K. that person is. And Shepheardes Calender is in a form of a pastoral allegory made on Queen Elizabeth, and it's a represent that way like a queen is the queen of shepherds, and the name is written as a Queen Elisa. And we find that the majorly satire or that attack on corruption of a Roman Catholic and clergy on the church. So it's a leadingly satire on church side, and we know that in Elizabethan era that the church are divided in two way, Catholic and Protestants. So these ecologues are written on a 12 months. Let's see, uh, month by month, what is there in this 12 ecologies. So in January we say that Colin Clout come, and there is one lover. His lover is Rosalind. She reject Colin Clout's uh, proposal. So he says that the faithless winter season is, and it's a give always in a pain. So it's a true that in winter season you cannot find anything will grow in farm also. So for a farmer or shepherd, that season is also a cruel season. But here that connection given with then a lover, that Colin Clout given a reason that why January is a little bit crucial or very hard season. The reason is that Rosalind gives a rejection to him. That's why he says, in Feb there is a two shepherd making a discussion on the name is Thenot and Cudic. In March, Tomolin and Cupid make a discussion. April is an important month after January. If you see that the farming time with compare with the farming time, so you can find it that the comparison ongoing with the January to April. If you see in India also, in this time period we are making a farming also, like a grain kind of thing are ongoing in a farm. So that is the way you can compare also. These are all ecology with Indian ecology also, that which month which kind of crops are settled in our farm also. That is the way we can make a comparison also. So in April is the most important after January. So Thenot and Hobinel make a discussion. First begin with the Thenot. That Thanos tell that to Hobby that can you tell about Queen Elisa or praise her by honesty or royalty. So after that Hobinel gives an information about Queen Elisa. That is the way that indirectly they are appreciating to Queen Elizabeth, or they are praising to England. In May, Pisces and Palinout, they are making a satire on Roman Catholic Church. Why they are making satire? They are making an illustration on that how they become corrupt. What are the problem in that Roman Catholic Church are facing? They are making satire on that in May. After that, June comes. Colin Clout one more time comes, and now what he was telling when he comes first in January, at that time that man was complaining or that feeling sad about that Rosalind deny for an accepting the men's proposal. Now in June, Colin Clout one more time come, and at that time he was explaining that I am failing as a lover. I fail as a poet also. There is no career for me. So now John, in June, the Colin Clout making complaints. In July, AK, the commentator of this poem, E.K, comes, the Edward Creek, and making a satire on England's positions, that are what are the ongoing problem or the issues are in England. He talks about that. One more time, in August there is a singing competition. We can compare with our Navratri festival. There's parallelly going on. So that is the way. After that, in the September, Hobinel comes, and a Deacon Dovis comes, and they are making complaints about their surrounding atmosphere. In October, Pisces and Cudics comes. They're both shepherd, and they are making a discussion. And their discussion point is about poetry. What they are talking about that how poetry goes. What was the history of poetry? How will flourish it? What is the future of poetry? What are the characteristics of poetry? Means they are making a discussion on poetry. In the November, Colin Clout one more time come with Thenot. And now at the time, Colin Clout gave a lament on the death of Elizabeth Dudley, the daughter of Earl of Leicester. Here that Colin Clout gave a lament to the Elizabeth. After that, the final Eclogue is coming, is the December. Here Colin Clout one more time present, and what he do, he ending this Eclogue with his experience of his whole life, or we can say that he make to conclude this session. After the journey began with the January to came down to a December, what he learns. He says that I was happy in my childhood, but when I come in my youth, I become a little bit disappointed. With whom I become disappointed, I fail as a poet, I fail as a lover. But this failure gives me a strength or the emotion or that the feelings that I can write on a good poetics or the good poetical works. So that's why Colin Clout says to us that if you fail in love, you get an emotion to explain it. So it is a good for your literary career that you fail in any of the relationship. So he was trying to cover up that he was failed, but he makes that if you fail somewhere, it will help you. So that is the way this 12 months ecology was ended. So we can say that it's a begin with the Colin Clout, and it's ended with his commitment on his whole life. That is the way this is the Shepheardes Calender.